everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and it's actually just me. This is a special episode. We reached out to by the UDisc. Was that a correct sentence? I don't know. The guys from UDisc, Josh and Matt, had reached out to us and thought, could we be on the Disc Golf Answer Man show? And I was like, for sure, because I use their app, UDisc app. I use it to keep scores. And after doing the interview that I did with them, I'm going to use it for a lot more. It's an app you can find out on the iPhone or the App Store for iOS and Google Play for Android devices. So anyway, they called and they interviewed. They had an update, some new features they had added to the app. So they wanted to discuss it with us so they can kind of get the word out and let people know. And I thought, sure thing, I'd love to get you guys on the show. So we'll head right over and take a listen to the interview. All right, guys. So thanks again. We have UDisc, the guys behind UDisc, on the line. First of all, thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time out. I know right now, as we're recording, things are going on for the Idlewild Open. So I'm sure you're busy trying to make sure all that's functioning right. But first, thanks for taking the time to do this interview.
Yep, we're glad to be here.
So let's yeah, absolutely. Let's first introduce each one of you. Josh, you go first. Tell us a little bit about you and your disc golf career, and then we'll head on to Matt.
Sure. So hi, my name's Josh Lichty. I grew up in Iowa and got started disc golfing about 12 years ago now. I'm just a rec player like you, Bobby. I'm not a pro by any means, but love to play. And then went to Iowa State University, and that's where Matt and I met each other. And we're both computer engineering students there. And we used to play disc golf. There was a couple courses right on campus, and we would play 2 to 3 times a week. So that's when the love of the sport started with me.
Nice.
Yep, and I'm Matt Kruger. As Josh said, we met at Iowa State University when we were both going to college together. I've been playing about, 10 or 11 years. I play a little bit more than Josh does, but these days I'm lucky to get out once a week. Not a pro by any means, but I compete. Let's say I'm about halfway in the advanced division. If I'm in the top 50%, I'm pretty happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell everybody real quick, what's the elevator pitch of what the UDisc app is?
So I think in general, the main function of it is to keep scorecards and to find courses. It's evolved a lot over time. It started as just a course finder, but these days I think most people use it to keep track of their rounds and to chart their rounds so they can visually kind of see how they're doing and improve, find areas of weakness and things like that. The other big thing is that we have course maps for about 70% of the world's courses. And they're interactive maps that are created within the app by our users. And you can, now with the new update we just released, you can actually see like where circle 1 and circle 2 are, and you can get this little dotted line that shows you where the next hole is and things like that, so that you can navigate unfamiliar courses pretty easily.
Yeah. So what gave you guys the idea that you felt like you needed to make your own app for disc golf?
Oh man, so probably around 2010 or 2011, I used to play a new course every weekend with my friends. So maybe back up a little bit. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I didn't say that. And we've got about 70 courses within a 30-mile radius of the city. So we've got a lot of places to choose from. And my friends and I kind of made it a goal one year to play a new course every weekend. And we'd always be, 10, 20 miles from home and finish playing and want to play somewhere else. And we didn't have a simple way I just wanted something where I could hit one button and say, where's the closest course to play? And that's kind of how it all got started. There wasn't really anything out there at the time that used GPS really nicely on a smartphone to do that.
So it sounds like with most new stuff or most entrepreneur type stuff, you had an itch you wanted to scratch, and you decided to do it yourself.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think it started off just wanted to help my friends out, and then kind of went from there.
Very cool. Now, from beginning to concept of you had the idea up until the very first release, how long did that actually take?
Well, the first version was only a course finder, so I'd say I probably worked on it off and on for 6 months or so, then released it for Android only at the time, and it was free. was just a
Boo,
course.
only Android
Yeah.
boot. No, I'm playing.
Well, at the time, that was only because I knew Java, which is the language that you use to write Android apps. And I wasn't even an Android user. I was an iPhone user. So I just kind of did it because it was something that I didn't have to learn too much technically. But yeah, and at first it was only for Minnesota. We only had Minnesota courses. Then we added Wisconsin and Iowa and Illinois and just kind of went from there.
Very nice. Very nice. So you mentioned earlier, when we were talking earlier, you said something about updates. Tell me though, kind of what was it ideas that came from people that were using it? Did you get a lot of feedback once people started using it and that's how you implemented updates? Or was all these updates something that you always had in mind to put into the app?
A lot of it does come from our users. So we've got a lot of really great users, and they're vocal sometimes about what they want added. But we've always wanted to evolve, and we've got a plan that's thousands of tasks long for things that we want to keep working on.
Right.
So the latest update, so that came out about 2 weeks ago now, and it's UDisc 8.0. So we've gone through more than eight major releases since UDisc has come out, and this latest one really focused on the app has been going for about 5 years, and starting over and thinking about how can we, if we were to design this again now, how can we make it a little bit easier to use and focus on, for new users, making everything that they would want to do a little bit easier. So that's what the philosophy was. And so we made quite a few big changes for this release, but we've gotten a lot of good feedback, and it's a lot quicker to look at courses. And if you're planning a trip, you could just type in "show me courses near Emporia," and it will sort by rating, and you can find the courses, add them to your wish list, and then when you get to Emporia, just hit the directions button, and your phone will direct you right to the course. And then you open UDisc, and it will show you the map of the course. You can take you to the first tee, show you the distance to the basket. So it really helps when you're traveling and navigating new courses. So that was a big focus of this new release.
Now, where do you grab your information to put all this in the app?
So interestingly enough, it all started, like I said, with just Minnesota courses. I got in touch with a guy in Minnesota who happened to run kind of his own little course directory just for the state of Minnesota. So that kind of seeded the directory. His name is Derek Ton. He's a pretty famous course collector out there. I think he's one of the guys that's above 1,000 courses, or he's around 1,000 courses played.
Wow.
So he seeded the directory with the Minnesota courses. And then from there, we built a way inside of the app for people to submit the data. And now these days, that's how all the data has come to be. We have about 7,000 courses in there around the world. I'd say lately we've been getting 200 to 300 course updates per day from users. So it's pretty massive at this point. We have a big approval system that we run to make sure that the data, we vet all of it personally to make sure that it's real and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's all user submitted. It's all user moderated. And we like to encourage people to submit as much as they can. If your local course isn't in there, just go ahead and add it. It's really easy. Go to the More tab and click on Add New Course.
How many do you get per day? Would you say on average of people giving you new information?
I mean, I think lately, like I said, it's been 200 to 300 updates per day.
Per day?
So per day,
yeah.
And you got to go through all those and verify and check, and then update it on the app.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Josh built a really cool web interface for him and I to do this, and pretty soon we're hoping to roll some of that out to some power users so that they can help us moderate it, since it's getting to be pretty unwieldy.
I imagine.
But yeah, it's the approval thing is built on the same technology as UDisc Live, so we kind of just leave it open and it just updates. So when we're working, we just see what's happening and can approve it as fast as we can.
Now, does that type stuff, does that update real time, or does it, you have to push those type of updates out to, let's say, the Apple Store?
That's all. So the apps all are connected. When you open the app, it will download all the updates to the course the same way. If you've got a UDisc Pro account, it will download your new scorecards.
Gotcha.
So that all comes in, and then when you play a course, if there's new layout, so one of the big features is that a course can have multiple layouts. If you've got, short tees and long tees or different pin positions, you can keep your data separate for the layout that you're playing, and then that way all your stats are accurate for that layout. Also, the maps are separate to the layouts as well. So when you open a course and start to play around, if there's new layouts, those will automatically download, and you can select which one you're playing that day.
That's awesome. Now I know for me, I mean, I remember getting it when it first came out. I didn't really use it a whole lot, and then I started using some other apps, and then just recently I started using it again. And I even talked about it on a show a couple of episodes ago, where I was in Bartlesville and I was playing a brand new course, and they hadn't quite finished it, so they didn't have signs to kind of tell you where to go. But your app had a map view, and it literally had arrows pointing from the tee pad or from the basket to the next tee pad. And it was such a lifesaver. And I remember thinking, man, I didn't even know that feature was really in there. It was just, I was digging around trying to figure out if anybody had something to tell me where to go on this course. So with that in mind, what are some of the features that you think a lot of people don't understand that your app provides? What are some features that maybe are probably the least used features that you think people can gain the most benefit out
of? So I guess I'll take this one. I'm sure Josh has some input too. So first of all, let's just say that, there's probably a few hundred features in there at this point, and it's so much that sometimes I even forget what's in there. But I think, like you said, the maps are one of those things that I think we've not done a very good job presenting those inside of the app in some places. So while we have, above 50,000 holes that are mapped, there's a lot of people that don't even know that we have that in there. We are going to address that pretty soon, and I think that we're going to do it in a really cool way that people will really like and find more usable. But to me, that's the biggest one. So just for anybody who's listening, the easiest way to get to maps is while you're inside of a scorecard, there's a little button at the top that has the hole distance. If you just tap on the hole distance, it'll bring you right to the map for that hole. Or you can go from the courses tab and tap on the course and scroll down to where the map is. Other than that, though, I think one of the new things we added with the new maps is you can tap and hold while you're viewing a map, and it'll drop a pin, and it'll tell you how far that pin is from where the tee is and from where the basket is. And this is super useful if there's like a hole with water and you want to know how far the water is from the tee to decide if you're going to lay up or go for it. So that's something that I've been using a lot.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we just added that. So like, for example, at Blue Ribbon Pines, I mean, it's that's kind of my home course, and there's a few holes where there's water about 350 feet off the tee.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool for, people with big arms. If they're like, okay, I can throw that 450-foot shot. I'm going to drop this marker and see how far it is to get over the water. Or like me, take the easy route and lay up.
Yeah. Very cool.
How about you, Josh?
Yeah, I think maps is definitely the biggest one. Another one that we launched last year is you can actually, and people probably know about this because we put up a little banner when the live tournaments are going on, but you can follow the Pro Tour. So while you're out on the course playing year round, you can switch to the Pro Tour tab, check out the scores, and also watch the live video from Smashbox within the app. And so you can look at scores, video, all of that while you're on the course pretty easily.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool thing for you guys to kind of partner up. I'm not sure how it all happened, but to have that happen, I think was great for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, to give them that type of information and data that they could use. And then, of course, to kind of give you guys some exposure, I think that was awesome. Tell us how that works. So you go out, let's just pick Idlewide. So you say you're going to give all the stats. How does that get deployed as far as getting all that information into the app?
I can handle this one.
Yeah, go for it, Josh.
We have actually custom apps that we built for iOS and Android to capture the scores. So they're specific apps to capture it. And there's volunteers essentially. So every card or most of the cards has a caddy or a local club member or volunteer that walks with the card. And they're not entering stats. What they're doing is just capturing where the throws landed. So if it lands in the fairway or in circle one or in the basket or in the water, they just enter that. And there's only a few different zones that they tap on. And then all they have to do is do that for every throw on the hole. It only takes a few seconds. And then that all uploads in real time to our servers. And then we calculate all the stats and show it to people on udisclive.com.
Very nice. Well, I know it's quite an undertaking, but I know a lot of people really enjoy being able to have all those stats. I know myself too. I kind of find myself having on my second monitor, I'll have the video up, but then I also have some of the stats just to kind of be able to know what's going on without having to always pay attention to the video or listen to the video. Or if I don't want to, or if I'm out somewhere and I don't want to use up my data with video, I know I can actually watch the stats as they come in. I think that's really cool. So let's see. There was, I posted out on the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group. If you guys are okay, we can just hop into some of those questions that people posted on the Facebook group. Is that good with you guys?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, let's see. All right, right now we got 33 comments, so we should have some good questions. Okay, this first one is from Mike. He says, lifetime membership options?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. I don't think that this is something that we'll be doing in the short term, at least. And if you think about it, we have recurring monthly costs that we have to pay to keep everything running.
Yeah, real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off, but let's explain to people, because you use what's called more of what I believe it's referred to as a freemium model. In other words, there's some stuff that people can do just for free on the app, but if you kind of want some enhanced features, then you have a subscription model, correct?
Yeah, so let's back up a little bit. So there's the best way to get UDisc is go download the free app. Just search for UDisc in the App Store. Get the one that just says UDisc. And yes, all the features are free. You can try everything. And the scorecard has a limit to it. After you create 10 scorecards, you have to choose if you want to upgrade, or you can delete a scorecard if you want to keep going. But the main thing is, try it out. It's free. All the course directory is always free. The course maps are always free. So 99% of the features in there are really free. If you like it and you want to support us, then we ask that you get a pro membership, which is $5 a year. And in my opinion, at least, compared to what a disc costs, that's pretty cheap. I'll go to a course and throw a $15 disc in the water and just have to kind of look the other way and go get a new one. But
I'm totally with you. In fact, like I told you at the beginning, when I first downloaded it and found out there was a subscription model, even though I didn't use the app a lot, I still bought the subscription just for the fact that I thought it was cool that you guys were doing that. So yeah, I mean, skip a drive-through meal at McDonald's one day, boom, then you've just helped out somebody. Use that money and do a yearly subscription, and you just helped you guys out. Because yeah, $5 a year for the cool stuff that you can do, I think is totally worth it. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Oh yeah, and I was just gonna say, if you think about it, buying a subscription is kind of putting some trust in us that we're going to keep improving this thing. Right. And that's really what we're here to do. We take everything extremely seriously. We fix every bug that we know about, and anybody that contacts us can expect to get a reply pretty quick, usually, unless it's something super complicated that's going to take us a while to figure out. We'll usually reply within the same day. So we're here to make something cool and useful for people. That's the reason that we're here.
Very nice. So is a lifetime membership an option for you?
Right now, it's not. I don't think it's something that we would do in the short term. And the way I like to think of it is, if you have a cell phone bill with AT&T, there's no way for you to get a lifetime subscription to AT&T. It's kind of the same thing. We're paying monthly costs to host everything, and we don't know how that'll change over time, and we don't know, how much it's going to cost each month necessarily. And as it scales, it gets more and more expensive. So I think right now, the subscription model, we think that the price is right. $5 a year, like I said, I think is pretty tenable for most people. And if you compare it to what you're paying for plastic, I think that something that you use every single round for $5 for a year versus a disc that you might use once and then never throw again, I think it's not too much to ask.
Like I said, I completely agree. $5 is a for a year's worth of that those features is a no-brainer. In fact, it makes me. Not makes me, but it's kind of incentivized me to use it even more. And I'd say that because I'm a very casual disc golfer, but when I play, let's say I play Peter Pan, I want to see how I do compared to the last 3 or 4 times I played Peter Pan, and to be able to create that scorecard and see those stats, I think for myself, I think is really cool. And even when I play somebody like I'll play Robert or Eric McCabe, and I'll say, hey, you're going to give me a handicap. We'll look at my how I scored previously to help figure out how many strokes Eric or Robert are going to give me on a play. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. So, okay, so let's go on to the next question. Let's see. Jacob asks, what are your favorite hobbies besides disc golf?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. Lately our lives,
programming.
Our lives have been entirely this for a while now here. For me personally, I've got a little dog. It's a schnoodle, and we just got 4 backyard chickens that we're going to raise for eggs. So
wait, a schnoodle?
Yeah.
What's a schnoodle?
The Schnauzer poodle.
What is with all these exotic? I'm hearing Labradoodle,
Yeah.
golden doodle, or whatever. All kinds of different mixes of dogs. So why the schnoodle though? What is it? I think a lot of people do with the poodle because I think they're non-hyperallergenic.
Yep.
And
That's
was that a big reason for having the poodle in the mix?
Yeah, exactly. Poodles are known for being very smart. And this breed is just I'm not allergic to them. So it was very nice. He just turned 6 the other day. So I've had him for a while now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And then chickens for the eggs, huh?
Yeah, we eat a lot of eggs. So my girlfriend and I got 4 backyard chickens. We recently moved to a different city. Part of it was for the fact that they allow us to have backyard chickens in this city. So we are super excited about that.
That's very cool. What about you, Josh?
Travel for me, I like to travel and hiking. So
wow.
I'm living in Europe right now, actually in London. So we like to travel around and explore different areas here, especially Scotland. Scotland's been a fantastic place to go hiking and try some of the local beverages.
Wow, that's cool. I want to visit there. Hopefully we'll have some big tournaments out there, and Jeremy will let me go out there and do some filming or stuff. Okay. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, nothing.
Oh, okay. Next one comes from John. When will live scoring be made available to all users, and maybe will round ratings ever be added?
Oof. Do you want to take this one, Josh?
Sure. So live scoring. So hopefully he means more about the UDisc live stats and metrics and all that. So that will be coming out this year. Where Matt and I have been working on the new scorecard, and it's nearly ready. We just need to tidy up a few things and then test it all. So the UDisc live metrics and scoring will be happening in the app this year. We're also planning to roll out UDisc live tournament scoring to a lot more tournaments and leagues. So if you're interested in that, shoot us an email. It's just team@udisc.com if you're interested in working with us on that. Ratings, that's a little bit more complicated one. We're adding a lot more stats to the app, so you'll be able to analyze your game along putting and driving, all that, like UDisc Live. Ratings is something we've been working on, but can't really say for sure when we want to have that added, just because we want to make sure that it's accurate.
I got you.
Yeah, and I think that goes to Josh's point. There's some stuff out there that you can use to estimate your ratings, and we're kind of perfectionists, and we really want things to be 100% accurate. And right now, the only people that can do that 100% accurately is the PDGA, since they own the secret algorithm and the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you can estimate it, and you might be off by 50 points. And if that's okay for you, then I think that's fine. But to me, I want it to be accurate. So
maybe that's something that people don't understand, is that the way that they calculate, the PDGA calculates, they don't exactly give that information out freely.
Right. Yeah. Their algorithm is secret. It's not too hard to figure out, approximately what it would be. But part of it too is that you have to have, a certain number of, known quantity people playing in the event, and you have to take the weather into account, things like that. And so if you go out and play a one-off round on your local 9-hole course by yourself, and try to estimate a rating, the only way to do it really is just based on how long the course is.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean much, because you get Paul Macbeth there and have him play that course, and he shoots 10 down on a 9-hole course or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might be a little different thing.
Absolutely. Now, Josh, you said something about a tournament app. Are you? Is it too early to expand upon that, or is it something more you can talk about?
Well, we don't have it totally fleshed out, but the idea from the beginning with UDisc Live was that it's not just for the Pro Tour. So we're planning to expand that to a lot more tournaments. Pro Tour is kind of our beta test, so it's a very high profile one. But right now, the biggest thing is that it takes a lot of manpower to run it, but we're automating and simplifying and trying to make this available for a lot more tournaments in the future, because it will, not only do you get the live scoring and the statistics, but it's actually makes it easier to run a tournament. So we are able to, as soon as the round ends, upload all the scores to PDGA, and then the round ratings are there. We can calculate all the tee times. So it actually simplifies the work needed to run a tournament. But there's still a little bit more work to be done, but we're going to be looking to expand that out a lot more next year.
So is it more to assist tournament directors in running tournaments, or is that kind of what it is, more on
along
that side, or is there any going to be features for the players?
So I would say all of the above.
Okay.
Eventually, it's going to be everything. So one thing I want to say while we're on the topic is just kind of a shout out to the PDJ. They've been working with us very closely lately on the UDisc Live integration with PDJ. So now one thing Josh kind of briefly mentioned there is that we have the ability now to push scores and tee times from UDisc Live to the PDJ.
Nice.
Which simplifies things a lot for the TD. So like yesterday for Idlewild, we had tee times up within 10 minutes of the final card coming in for the next day. And as it goes on, I think we can look forward to working with them more. They've got a couple of really good guys over there running their tech show. And it's been really awesome to work with them this year.
That's awesome. Well, I guess one of the things I'm thinking is, 3 years ago, we started with the Glass One Open. We started an app as a way to communicate and connect with the players. I'm actually really surprised that some of the other bigger tournaments haven't done that already. And when we started planning for 2018 and we said, do we need an app? It was like not even a second later. Yes, we need an app again, because that was one of the biggest, when we first did it and we did it for Pro Worlds, that was one of the biggest positive feedbacks we got from the players was the use of the app, where it allowed people to communicate with each other and allowed us to connect with them. We could push notifications out to people to let them know if something's been delayed, the rain delay, or if tee times change, or whatever. We were able to do that very quickly, and a lot of people were able to get information they needed for the event. Instead of just going to the website, they were able to find it on the app. So that's why I was kind of digging there. I didn't know if is that kind of what the tournament app will include, or not so much?
I think at first it's going to be more geared towards scoring and towards making running tournaments a little bit more efficient, not necessarily, sending players messages, but I think that is something that would come along.
Okay.
I think what we see right now is, we've got all these statistics and all this data, and there's so many things that we could do with it that we're not yet. Right. And, for example, one thing that we've mulled over and I really would love to see someday is we already can kind of do it, but we can figure out where the backups are on the course really easily. I mean, we know, there's a 30-minute backup on this hole. Like for after Ledgestone a couple weeks ago, Josh ran some stats, and he was able to figure out the average time it took to play each hole. And I think that's the kind of thing that nobody's really seen yet. I mean, nobody's really tracked that ever.
No, and that's the stuff that you, like you said, is that data that just mounds and mounds of information. And it's like, well, then what can we do with all this information? I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Next question. Let's jump to someone wants to know if you like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC.
I was hoping you'd ask us this one. I gotta go with NSYNC just because JT,
Yeah, Justin Timberlake is definitely the man for sure. What about you, Josh?
Yeah.
I think Matt can handle this one.
If you asked me this when I was a kid,
nothing to add.
Yeah, if you asked me this when I was a kid, I would have refused to answer. But I think that JT has kind of redeemed himself being the funny guy on SNL.
That's true.
Yeah. We got the hard hitting questions here on Disc Golf Answer Man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Andrew asks, where do you see the app in 3 years from now, and how close are we to using our phones instead of scorecards at all local tournaments? That's a good question.
I think that the second part of that question would be where I would hope it to be in 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so. One of the nice things about using the phone is the phone doesn't make addition errors. So we had a little bit of an issue. Well, we didn't have an issue actually, but there was that big issue at the Memorial this year with Wysocki and people recording things wrong and adding wrong, and that is something that we really want to prevent. Is people shouldn't be getting 2-stroke penalties for addition errors when they can use an app to confirm and make sure that they have the right score. So we have, since then, I don't think there's been a single addition error from a card that has used UDisc.
Yeah, nice. That's something that we've definitely, we didn't really realize until we started doing the tournament scoring, is that errors are rampant all over the place. Like, I would really be curious to know how many people have turned in scorecards with addition errors that weren't caught and got extra money because their score was they weren't penalized. So we've actually caught quite a few times now where there was a problem with a paper scorecard, at least last year before we had people verifying things with UDisc, where the UDisc scorekeeper had it right and the paper was wrong, and they would never have known that.
Wow.
It's been kind of an interesting thing just to see, and it's just human error. I mean, that's just how it goes. Everybody makes mistakes, but when you're using a computer to do the addition, it's much less likely. And then also the way that people enter data into the UDisc Live app, like Josh said, nobody's entering strokes. So you're not putting in a 4, you're not putting in a 3. You're actually putting where every throw landed. And I think doing it that way, you're way less likely to forget a throw. Like I know for me, and I'm sure everybody can commiserate with this, but you hit that tree right off the tee, and then 5 strokes later you're putting it in the hole. Sometimes you forget about that first throw, and you think you got a 4 when you got a 5 or something like that, and that just happens. But with this kind of score entry, it's really hard to do it wrong.
Nice. All right, next question comes from. Oh, okay. Here's a hard-hitting one. I love the app, but the latest update isn't as easy to use. A better menu in the works?
Yeah, I think that one could be kind of a matter of preference.
Yeah.
So we spent about a year redoing the whole app and the whole menuing system, and we're kind of trying to stay in line with modern app development standards. And we took some cues from very popular apps like Facebook and Instagram and Gmail and various things like that people should be pretty familiar with. And in my experience so far, most of the feedback has been really good. And some of the people that have been really long time users, I think there's just a tad bit different learning curve. And while I'm here, I think maybe all I really need to say is that the old side menu is now the More tab. So if you're not able to find something, go to that More tab. It's probably there. Otherwise, just explore. Like, don't be afraid to click on things. There's a lot of things you can click on, and all those tabs along the bottom, those are the main features in the app. So go ahead, click on those, click on everything you can see, and think within 5 minutes you'll have found everything that you were using before.
Yeah, I would say a lot of times people just aren't used to change, or kind of change kind of upsets them. Not saying that's the case with you, Phil, but I found that you're not really going to break the app, so just start tapping away,
Exactly.
and you're probably going to figure out or find what you need to find in the app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's my general advice. Don't be afraid to click on things. You're not going to break anything, and if you do make something crash, just let us know and we'll fix it.
Yep, good deal. Let's see. Chris wants to know when will they be providing every disc golfer on the planet a free cell phone pre-installed with UDisc?
That's 2265.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the 50-year plan right there, huh?
When we have replicators.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Let's find some good ones here. Better way to add friends from rounds. It seems to be something to add someone by username. Well, that's really easy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think I saw this one. We actually improved that for the latest version. So now when you enter a friend by username, it shows you their photo and their name, so you're not accidentally adding the wrong Cool Daddy or anything like that.
There's only one Cool Daddy.
And we do have plans to integrate with Facebook and Twitter and things like that to look up your friends that way. But just that's one of those ones on our list that we haven't gotten to yet.
We used to have a way to look up people by phone number, but that was way too complicated, and I don't think it was any better necessarily. So right now you have to do it by username, and if you're unsure what your username is, just click on your profile tab, and it should say right at the top what your username is.
Nice. Mm-hmm. A lot of people asking about player rating. That's a big thing, but like you said, it can be kind of complicated.
Just to reiterate on that, I think the main thing is we want it to be super accurate if we're going to do it. So we can, we just haven't quite figured out the right way to do it. And I think that once we have the enhanced stats later this year, that you may not miss ratings as much.
Oh, nice. Let's see. I had one. Josh wants to know, can it be social, like a find a friends mode?
That's also something that we've done a little bit of work on, and it will be coming. It's just, there's only 2 of us right now, so we can't necessarily get it all done as quick as possible, but that is on the list.
Very cool. Steven wants to know, have you ever thought about adding a putting distance input in the scorecard for stats tracking? It would be nice to chart over time, make/miss percentages from certain distances. Also, any chance of a light feature widget for home screen, lock screen to allow easier score entry and viewing?
So the putting will be coming later this year with the enhanced stats. So
nice.
if you look at UDisc Live, everything that you see in there should be coming to the regular app in terms of like circle 1 putting, circle 2 putting, scramble, fairway hits, all that stuff. The one thing that we don't really track is the distance you missed from.
Yeah.
Just because that's a lot of stuff to enter, and I don't really know if we could maybe get there eventually. But I mean, personally, as a player, I don't know if I want to be slowed down that much by entering that much. But in terms of make percentages and things like that, and we can do miss percentages and make percentages, but we can't tell you missed, X percentage from 16 feet or something like that. And then the second part of it, I think you said about a widget. We don't have a widget right now. What we do have is an Apple Watch app, and we will soon have an Android Wear app to enter scores. So in my mind, that's kind of like a widget 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
We could eventually add something on the lock screen, but we just haven't quite gotten there yet.
Very nice. I'm looking through some of the questions. Some of the you've kind of answered you've answered them as you've answered other questions. Here's a good one. Donnie, is it possible to have a league feature? So rather than paper scorecards, we can have a player use the app and sync scorecards with whoever is leading the league and needs that information.
Yeah, so we actually have a few leagues right now that we're working with directly so they use the leaderboards that are in the app. So that's something we haven't even mentioned yet. But if you're a pro user, there's a leaderboard for all course layouts out there, and you can look and see how any other of the users have performed on that layout and see, who's got the top score for the last week or the last month or all time. And so we have some leagues that are using that, and if you reach out to us directly, and you can just go to UDisc.com and click the contact us button on the bottom. If you reach out to us directly, we can get you set up with a league discount and teach you how to use that. And then we have a lot more league features that will be coming over the winter.
Wow, that's very cool. Mike wants to know if you can label all bogeys as whammies. And then he put a picture. Looks like he photoshopped some whammy guys on the score. That's awesome.
That's funny. Oh, like from that game show?
Yeah, from
man,
what's the game name?
No Whammy.
Yeah.
That's funny that show's always playing on this one station I get on the TV, like the old game show station.
Troy asks, can you please ask how to find the walking distance after the new update?
Yeah, it shouldn't have changed. We didn't change the scorecard at all with this update. So if they're on Android while they're playing, it should be at the very top of the screen right by the course name. If they're on iPhone, I think there's a little like I button you have to click at the top, and it'll show you the step count. And then on both versions, when you're done with the round, at the bottom of the scorecard, right below where the date for the round is listed, it should say your number of steps and the miles that you walked. And if you don't see that, then it could be that you've somehow disabled UDisc access to your motion data. So if you're on iOS, you may have to go into your settings and then give UDisc access to your motion. And on Android, I think there's an equivalent setting somewhere in there. But nice. Every Android version is different, so I don't want to try to give you step by step.
Yeah. Let's see. I have a question. I'd like to have the ability to import the info to Excel or PDF format. I have 1,000 rounds on an old phone, and they are lost currently.
Well, the easiest way, as long as the rounds are in UDisc, is for them to make a pro account on the old phone and let it sync all the rounds up, and then log into that same account on the new phone. And it should just download everything. But if they're talking about, I guess I don't know if they're talking about importing from a different app. If that's the case, we don't yet have a way to do that, but we plan to eventually here write some stuff so that you can import from other places. But yeah, maybe that guy just wants to contact us, just team@udisc.com.
Someone said, any thoughts on a built-in distance tracker? And someone said it's had it since 2013. Oh, that's probably you, isn't it, Matt?
That was me.
Okay. I just looked at the name. So yeah, I guess that kind of goes back to the thing of some people just don't, you said it has, a lot of features that some people just don't understand or don't know that it has all those features. So yeah, like we said before, start tapping away and finding those features to see if they can help you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I found that. That's how I found that one to help me figure out the layout of that new course. So.
Right. I think a big thing is, if you're like me, when I get to the course and I want to play, like I just want to make my scorecard and get going, and I'm not really there to play with it. But my advice would be, someday when you're sitting on the couch, open up the app and just tap around and find what's all in there. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Very cool. All right. Well, it looks like a lot of the other questions are more just kind of a repeat of some stuff we've already answered. So I think we'll go away from there. Well, I got to tell you guys, I think the app is awesome. I use it a lot more. And I want now the stuff you told me already, especially the distance type stuff. I think I'm going to try to figure that stuff out a little bit more myself. What are some other things that you have planned for the immediate future on updates coming up?
Let's see. So, Josh, do you wanna spill any of the beans?
Go for it.
Well, we're working. Let's just say we're working. So, let me back up. The big update that we just released, a lot of it was visual, but even more of it was under the covers. We completely rewrote the course directory, so it used to be this really old, not very maintainable thing, and now it's using the same technology that UDisc Live is using. So with that, we will now be able to add a whole lot more to the course directory. Pretty soon, you'll be able to access the course directory in other ways. You'll also be able to add a lot more data to the course directory than we've ever had. So I think we'll just leave it at there for now, but we're actively, like, as we speak, I'm typing a line of code that is working on some new cool stuff for the course directory that we should have out within a few weeks, I would say. Probably by middle of September, I would guess.
That's pretty cool. Now, how can people, where do they go to find out all the stuff that you're working on? Do you have any kind of Facebook page or anything like that?
Yeah, the best place would probably be the Facebook page or Instagram. So we're just UDisc App on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Sometimes we'll announce what we're working on. More so, it's we have a couple of beta teams, one for iOS, one for Android. Mm-hmm. If you're an avid technologist and you want to get in early on things, contact us and we can tell you how to get into those groups. We've got a few hundred people in each one, so it's quite a few people in there. We don't want it to get to the thousands, but I think a couple hundred in each is okay.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Was there anything else we want to make sure we share with our listeners?
Yeah, so first of all, if you don't have the app, udisc.com is an easy way you can go there. It has screenshots of the app and you can click to download on either Android or iOS. But one other thing that we have for anyone that doesn't have the app or already does have the app is we've got a promo code for all the Disc Golf Answer Man listeners. And to enter the promo, you just go to the More tab and there's a button there for promo. And the promo is just DGAM, Disc Golf Answer Man, DGAM. And that'll give you a month to try out all the pro features so you can make sure that you love the app.
That's awesome. Thank you guys for doing that. I know our listeners will appreciate that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I want to say is, like, we're very committed to keeping this app the top app for disc golf, and we really want to make sure that we're putting out a good product. So if you have any feedback for us, just reach out. We're just humans, and we like feedback, negative and positive alike. Just email us, team@udisc, or send us a message on Facebook or wherever. And especially if you have a crash, bugs happen, and that's it's the worst when somebody writes a 1-star review and says the app doesn't work, and it's like, well, if you send me an email, I'll make it work.
Right.
Like, that's all you got to do. Just send me an email, send Josh an email, send whatever. So team@udisc, and we'll help you out.
Very cool, guys. Well, I love it. That's awesome. I think it's really cool. I love, because disc golf has been such a major part of my life for the last almost 10 years. And I just think it's really cool to see guys seeing a need and taking their expertise and knowledge and trying to fill those needs. And so I applaud you guys, and obviously I wish you the best, and I hope everything works out well for the app and all the updates that you have coming out. I think it's really cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I guess that's it. So I'll let you get back to Idlewild so we can make sure we can know what's going on over there. All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Have a good
talk to you later, Bobby.
Yep. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, awesome interview. Thank you so much for tuning in to our Disc Golf Answer fans, listeners. Like they said, go to the app and use the promo code and get a free month so you can check out all the features. Guys, I highly, highly recommend that you do this. It's a really cool app. I also recommend that you guys support these guys and other people that do stuff in the disc golf world, because it helps the sport grow, helps us have cool things for disc golf. So even if after the trial you know what, even if you don't love it and you'll think you're only using it occasionally, it's $5 for 1 year. And no, I will not give you the $5 to do it. Anyway, thanks guys for listening to this special interview. We should have the regular episode here in the next few days. Thanks. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you do me a huge favor, head out to iTunes or even on Stitcher and go rate and review our show. It would really help us out. Thank you so much.